Hello and welcome to Talking Shop from Automotive Tales. Over the last year I've been learning how to do automotive content for YouTube, and I've learnt, I think, a reasonable amount about cameras, about lighting and about audio. So I wanted to set this up to share some of the hints and tips and things I've found for anybody else wanting to get started in creating automotive content. I am no expert, so I'm hoping you'll come along with me on the journey and you can learn as I learn. And I would highly encourage you to join our Facebook group and share any ideas and thoughts you might have as well. So let's get on to the video. One of the shots I really wanted to capture was a car driving over a camera. Having watched the Formula 1 race at Spa, where you see a shot of the car approaching and then departing the corner at Eau Rouge,
of the Ferrari to get the slipstream as they begin the climb up Ranion and along the Kemmel Straight, Charles Leclerc leads the Belgian Grand Prix.
I thought that'd be a really great angle to try and capture. So I had a go. So, how did I capture that video? Well, first of all, I didn't film it on a potato, even if that's what it looks like. But I started with a really cheap little action camera, because this used to be my dash cam. I paid about £20 for it. There's not a hope in hell of ever getting 1080p out of it. I don't know what planet they think that's 1080p, but what it was a cheap and disposable camera. So, as you can see here, it's attached to, it's actually the base that comes with the GoPro. I set this little cheap action camera up in the middle of the road and got my talent driver, this is Automotive Tales, to drive at the camera. The beauty of this little rig is this camera is bright yellow, so it stands out against the road like a sore thumb. Obviously, you need a very, very quiet, ideally a closed road, but we found a section of country road that was nice and long and straight, so we knew there was nothing coming. She could drive off down the road, turn around, come back, and she could line up with this camera. So, problem solved, apart from the terrible quality. So the next step was obviously to upgrade to doing that with a GoPro. So this is what happened. So that was relatively easy. Just swap the camera on the base for a GoPro 3. So that makes quite a bit of difference. You get a proper 1080p quality video. But that's only the approaching shot. What about the departing shot? Well, that's a little trickier to get, so I knocked up a little rig, and this is the results. So, that's a pretty cool shot. Yes, okay, I edited it a little bit to make it a bit smoother, but how did I achieve those two shots? Well, there's two ways of doing it. You can just turn the camera around and run again, but that's a little bit faffy, and it might not be in quite the right position. You might not get quite the same angle. So I knocked up this little fella. So this is actually a piece of my kitchen floor. This is a 10mm thick piece of slate, which I then affixed two GoPro mounts to. So we've got two GoPro 4s in this case. Affixed to that, they're quickly removable, so they can be taken out and swapped if one gets damaged or one needs charging. And they're set slightly backwards. You'll have to adjust that once you kind of get your piece of road and your car in shot. But that allows you to record both bits of footage simultaneously. And if you sync them at the beginning with a clap or a clapperboard, like this little fella, where is he? There. Then you can sync the two streams of video, and then you can adjust the overlay to get it just so. So you see the car approaching, car departing. Pretty cool. So with that, it's just down to a little bit of editing. So what you need to then do is overlap those so that you get no break between, because actually the time between the car arriving and going over is pretty boring. You don't really see a great deal. As the car goes over the camera, it tends to get very dark, the camera will react, and then when it comes out the other side, it will then overexpose and you'll get a white screen. However, that can be quite useful, as you can see here. So what I did there is I used the overexposure as the car passed over the camera to fade to a white shot. So great for an outro or for a short clip to fade to your logo. So the final piece of the puzzle is to resolve the sound. The GoPro underneath the car is always going to be compromised for its sound because of the increased air pressure when the car travels over the top. So I took an additional recording and I've dubbed that over the top, and this is the finished article. I think you'll agree it's pretty good. Okay, so that's all for today's video. We'll be back again soon with some more hints and tips about creating automotive content. If you found this useful, then do please like, share and subscribe. And go and find us on Facebook. We've got a forum. We'd love to hear any of your hints and tips. See you later. Home, James. Don't spare the horses.